Hey everyone, this video is going to compare the new X90j to last year's X900H. The one on the left is the 85-inch X900H that I've had, and on the right is the 55-inch X90j. This is going to be difficult because of how much I need to fit into the frame, using the widest angle lens that I have and as far back in the room as I can go. It's also very difficult to get the camera to pick up what I'm seeing in person. With that said, in SDR, this is a 1080p Blu-ray SDR. They are extremely similar, very little differences at all. The color temperature just seems ever so slightly warmer on the X90j, as you can see here on the ground, and that's about the only difference in SDR that I've been able to make out. Both of them out of the box are very close to being set up appropriately. Just had to max out the contrast, which does not clip white at all. You can take it all the way to max and it's not going to clip. And the brightness only had to change from 50 to 51. Color depth was changed from 50 to 52, and that's it. Everything as far as smooth motion, or motion smoothing, whatever, anything else that would affect the picture dynamically, dynamic contrast, all that is turned off. The full array local dimming setting is at medium, and looking at this now, I'm recording the audio in post because I recorded this at 3 in the morning and wasn't very lively. The camera is actually doing a pretty good job right here, showing that there's essentially no difference in them. The X90j just a little tiny bit warmer in some colors, but that's it. The brightness is the same, black level is pretty much the same, but what we are going to see pretty soon is in HDR that changes. So let me skip ahead to that. Alright, here's Destiny 2, which is HDR, and it's HDR 10. And what I want to point out here is the red on the helmet looks more red on the X90j. It's a little more orange on the X900H. Also, in HDR 10, it seems like the black level is a little deeper and darker on the X90j, and there is a little bit of a brightness improvement. Shadow detail seems about the same. Here on this screen, if you look at the corners where it's dark, it's a little bit lighter gray on the X900H, and it's darker on the X90J, while also still being able to make out the dots for the stars in the background. Alright, now I'm trying to mess with the camera to get it to show as best as I can the differences. Like I said, it's just really hard to try to get it to match what you're seeing in person, or at least close to it, without biasing one to look better than the other. As far as things like sharpness or clarity, looks the same. I don't think there's any differences there, except for at 120 Hertz. Then you actually do get full 4K resolution on the X90j when you get half of 4K on the X900H. So with this showing the improved black levels, let me skip ahead to the next part. Alright, here's some of the settings for the X90j. We now have a Hdr Tone Mapping setting that has gradation preferred or brightness preferred or off. I'm using gradation preferred. I was not able to visually see any difference changing it on the fly like this. I don't know if it's a gradual change or if this is just a bad test example for it, but I personally have not seen anything really change when going between brightness preferred and gradation preferred. Alright, moving out here now, the X90j has better looking colors to me. The color brightness also seems higher, and there's just more depth to them. I think HDR10 is really where the X90j does a lot better than the X900H. White balance is also very good on both. And I'm trying to show any differences here. One thing that immediately stands out is the red on the X90j. Definitely looks better. There's a lot more punch to the red. The sky also looks a little better on the X90j. And like I said before, the black levels seem a little inkier on the X90j as well. So come over here to look at shadow detail, and this image should be near black but not black. And as adjusting the camera, this over accentuates what you're seeing in person, but it does show that there is a difference, and the X90j does get deeper while also retaining the shadow detail. You can still make everything out. Even though it's hard for the camera to show this, I think it is, like if you look at the left side of the robot, you can see clearly it's darker on the X90j than the X900H. I think this really shows an improvement in the full array local dimming control. What the camera is struggling to show, though, is the improvement in brightness from the X90j. And here I'm trying to show the ground accuracy. Like the stain on the ground right by the character is much more noticeable on the X90j. Alright, I think that shows that. Then I just look around the area at some other colors. If you look at the blue by the Eververse, the X90j pushes the blue stronger than the X900H. Now coming over here to the red, again, this is what I was saying earlier, the X90j really shows red better than the X900H in HDR. I think now we're going to move back to SDR, but go to an SDR game. So let me switch to that. Alright, here's Fortnite in SDR. And just like with SDR movie, there's very little difference between the two here. Just a little bit of a color temperature difference. And maybe just a little bit darker blacks, but I really don't think so. Not in SDR. Alright, here's in the game loaded up. Looking at the green in the grass. It's really splitting hairs. I'm trying with the camera to show that there might be a little bit more color brightness on the X90j. It's just really hard to, one, see a difference in person, but even harder to try and show that on camera. To sound like a broken record here, these two TVs are basically identical in SDR. It's HDR10, where the X90j really does show improvement. So I'll let this play for a few seconds, and then I'll switch over to The Greatest Showman on UHD Blu-ray, and then I'll finish up with the Snyder Cut, which is Dolby Vision. Alright, here's The Greatest Showman in HDR10 with this opening, the grayscale. They're fairly close, but gotta say the X90j does seem a little deeper in the darks, maybe a little brighter in the white areas. And the color temperature seems a little better on the X90j. His red coat definitely looks redder and better on the X90j. Specular highlights shine a little bit brighter as well. Pretty much overall, I'd say the X90j is just handling this better. If the camera makes the X900H seem a little brighter in certain spots, that's probably due to the screen size difference. You gotta remember that 85 inches is more than twice the screen area of a 55 inch, so there's going to be more overall light output. The flames seem to shine a little better on the X90j. Shadow detail's probably about the same. And then skin tones look a little better on the X90j. Yeah, if you look at their faces on the X900H, it's more natural. On the X90J, just there's a green push everywhere, even the light coming in the windows in the back. So other than this issue with Dolby Vision, the X90j is either equal to the 900H or better when in HDR10. Like I said, black levels do seem a little bit better. And that's about all I've been able to distinguish between the two of them so far. And the main thing this year is the 4K 120Hz now works as it should. They still need to figure out how to get lossless audio to work at 4K 120 when using eARC though. Due to copyright claims for the Snyder Cut and for The Greatest Showman, I've had to trim this down and edit some stuff out. But what I was saying here with the Snyder Cut is in Dolby Vision, the color science leans more green. The white balance just seems to have a green tinge, but that's only in Dolby Vision with both of the TVs set up to the same settings with Dolby Vision. Alright, so let me cut this here, and hopefully I don't get another copyright claim. Thanks for watching, have a good one.